Word of the Lord. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowd. And after he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. Every now and then you need to break away by yourself to pray. And later that night, he was there alone. And the boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before the dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. And when the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It is a ghost," they said, and cried out for fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage. It is I. Don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat and walked on the water and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" And I'm speaking today from the subject simply, faith requires focus. Faith requires focus. Sometimes the Lord will send you into a place that you didn't just really volunteer to go. He told his disciples to get into a boat and go to the other side. And because he knows everything, he knew a storm was coming, but he told them to get in the boat anyway. Can you imagine that the Lord would tell you to go on a journey knowing that trouble is ahead? Knowing that you're going to get into a marriage and you're going to find a storm? Knowing that you're going to go on this new job and all hell is going to break loose? Knowing that you're going to move to another city and the uncertainty and not knowing anybody there and having to deal with a whole nother myriad of problems on a whole nother level, and yet the Bible says he made them get into a ship, into a relationship, into a fellowship. He made them get into discipleship. He made them get into a ship and go to another side, and yet a storm was coming, but yet the Lord had told them to go. God will tell you to go places where danger lies ahead. You know why? Because I believe it is God who is the epic writer, who's writing an epic concerning your life. And why would God dare write this beautiful epic of your life and not write himself into the script? There has to be an enemy. There has to be a storm. There has to be something that you're going to have to deal with and confront that you must get over. There must be an antagonist and a protagonist. Otherwise, the story of your life is boring. But some of you have fascinating lives. And you keep yourselves on a roller coaster going, and you don't ever know what's over the next hill or around the next curve. And Jesus constrains us, is what it says in the King James Version. He constrained the disciples to get into a ship and to go to the other side. Because when you get with God, you're going to go places. God will never leave you as you are. When you get with God, you are going to go places. So I want us to take a look here at just some brief lessons that we learn quickly on the front side of the story. Lessons from Peter's water walking experience. Here's the first thing. You look for Jesus and keep looking to Jesus. Look for Jesus and keep looking to Jesus. They were looking for him, wondering where is he? And then once they saw him, he had to keep looking to him because he didn't start sinking until he took his eyes off of Jesus. The second thing is that faith is simply taking the next step. Faith is simply taking the next step. Faith requires that you step out of your comfort zone. I'm sorry. God's not concerned about your comfort. He's concerned about your development. He's concerned about your having the journey of a lifetime. The greatest discoveries of life, they are not learned in a course. They are learned on a course. And God has a fascinating course established just for your life. So faith always involves a risk. it involves you having to step out into something. And then here's the next thing. Fear will sink you. Fear will sink you. The more afraid that you are, fear will sink you. Here's the next thing. Faith will unleash the supernatural and lift you. Thank God for that. Faith will unleash the supernatural and lift you. You avail the supernatural resources of heaven by the hand of faith. You get it with faith. And then a little faith is better than no faith. Now, he had enough faith to get out of the boat. He may have started sinking, but he had enough faith to get out.